Okay, so I just had an interesting receipt from the grocery store, and there was a lot of twos, and it came out, the total was 6767. And I was born in 76. And the twos were just like, I saved 222 in coupons, I had purchased 22 items, I had 2 gas points, so all these twos, and then it came out to 6767 exactly. So, and because I was born in 76, I just went to Google and typed in 67, a space, and 76, and then that led me to, I think it was like Trulia or some kind of real estate website, and that was just like the lot numbers for some property that they were selling, and it happened to be in Childersburg. And I thought, and this is Alabama, just just this random place, and I thought that was kind of an odd name, Childersburg. I was just like, oh, I just hope it didn't have like a negative connotation, and given where it is in the South and everything, I was just like, oh God. So anyway, I don't want to go off on that tangent, but I looked up Childersburg, and this town, Hephzibah, caught my eye, and they spell it Hepzibah. So I thought that interesting, that it, being it in the United States, and Alabama is in the U.S., and this sounds very much like an ancient, Hebrew word. So I assumed it had a lot of significance, because usually if they're going to use a name to name a city or town or whatever, state, whatever, it has some kind of, there's a meaning to, there's a lot in a name. So I looked up Hephzibah, and I guess, so it's a actual person that was in the Bible, a woman, and she's mentioned twice, I think, a couple times in the Bible. And just basically what it means is, my delight is in her. So that means that you are loved and protected by God. And so after I did that little bit of research on Hephzibah, and then I had a dream that night, and I've been hearing like Archangel Michael is like the big dog. So when I woke up, I'm like, that had to have been him, because it was like the Terminator, but like in Terminator 2 when he's reprogrammed to protect you. And so I just remember and he had like a long dark trench coat, long sleeve coat, long coat, black coat, and he was quite a bit taller than me, not too much. I'm about 5'8", so he was definitely taller than me, but he just seemed very like the Hulk, very like just thick and solid, and like this presence, this energy of like I didn't even look at him directly. It was just all out of my periphery, and he had like short dark hair and kind of darker skin for seemed kind of like, because my family has Hungarian, Austrian blood, and they have like Mongolian in there, so they can be very dark skinned. So he kind of looked like a kind of mix between like a lighter skin like person, and then like some Mongolian Asian type. So kind of like that Hungarian, and that I might have just been projecting that in my dream, because I had this association with like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, so he kind of looked like that in the dream, but it was very much an intense energy, but very like soothing, calming, protective. It was all, we communicated telepathically. There was no words, and we came up to this. It was kind of like in a hotel or a hospital where there's a lot of like glass doors, it's like, in the office over here. And so on the left there was just a single door, like glass door, and inside was, it looked just like a classroom or a little meeting room or something. And the light was off, but it was glass, so you could see in there that it was dark. The light was off, the door was shut, and the symbol for me to know that it was locked, that there was no more going in, and people don't come out that way. So there's a little black plastic, like kids' school chair in front of it, but facing towards, not facing outwards like it was welcoming you to sit on it. It looked like it was keeping the door shut, because how else would I have known that the door was like locked unless I went to go pull it open? So that was like showing me that that's shut off. It was dark in there. And then to the right was like this big sliding glass door, and I could see there was kind of a light coming from there, and some people kind of hugging each other and crying. And we walked, Michael and I just call him Michael now, and I don't know anything about the angels or the Bible or anything, so just from what I've seen from readings, when people, Archangel Michael is the one that protects, and he can also be considered the angel of death. And in this case, his task is to get you through the dark corridor. So there's the space where the people are, where the light's on, they're hugging, they're crying, they're mourning a loss, and there's a corridor between that space, that's a dark corridor where Michael and I were, and then beyond that, which I believed was where the light was. But see, when you can only see that when you're in the dark corridor. You can't see that when you're in the room of mourning where the light's on and the people are and stuff on earth. Okay, you can't, all you can see is the dark corridor beyond that room. You can only see the light when you're in the dark corridor. So it takes getting over your fear of this association that we've connected pain and suffering with fear. So we have to transcend that fear of pain, transcend the fear of physical pain, of emotional pain. And then we have the courage to put our golden key in that door to enter the dark corridor. Okay, which is the only way to see the light. Because we have to have that faith, let go of our fear. Our faith is what's going to help us let go of our fear to put that golden key in and open that door. And Michael's right there. Because I went through the whole thing. He walked me down the corridor, and you just feel the most safe you've ever felt. And I've never had this feeling from my brother, an uncle, my father, a boyfriend, nothing. I felt so safe, loved, protected, important, and I held his hand so tight with my left hand. He had his right hand holding my left hand, and I was just gripping, where our fingers were interlocked, and I took my right hand and touched the back of his hand, and it was just so solid and big, but so smooth and soft and tender. And it was the most beautiful feeling ever, because I was worried about, am I going to have to suffer more of these symptoms? Am I going to have to suffer more heartache, more heartbreak, more? And the thing is even if you do, you are protected. God's delight is in you for every man, woman, child. Well, children know that. They have no fear. They don't need a golden key. So there's that dark room, okay, and this was 2 nights ago after I did researched Hephzibah. Okay, I had the dream about Michael. Then last night, I had the dream about Azrael. And I had to write it down because I don't even know the angels, but I know this looked just like a shadow, like the Grim Reaper, like tree-like, okay? So it looks scary. So there's the angel of death, that's the protector that walks you down the corridor, which is Michael, okay? And then there's the shadow angel of death, and that's Azrael. And I felt like I was in an elevator, and the door opened up, and all I saw was this, like, shadow branchy hand reach out. And as soon as I thought, oh, I'm hesitating because I'm kind of scared a little bit, you know, and as soon as I had that thought, he just gently extended his arm out just a little bit more, as to suggest, just touch my arm, just grasp onto my hand, it's going to be okay. And I did, and it wasn't smooth like Michael's hand. It had like a couple little prickly things on just like a prickly leaf, not like nothing painful, but you could tell there was definitely different energy. And that was definitely the releasing of the fear of yourself. So there was no like your life flashing before your eyes and all these pictures and frames. It wasn't like that. It was an instant, right there, being right there in the energy of instantly releasing that fear and just going with him and letting him guide me. And then there was nothing. There was just peace, and then I woke up. There was no your life flashing before your eyes. It was just an acceptance of self and total release of the shadow. Meaning, that's when your shadow work's done. When it no longer has a grip on you. You don't fear the shadow. I didn't fear Azrael. And that's your shadow self. And so there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no reason to fear pain. There's no reason to fear death. There's no reason to welcome it. Okay? You know, we're not going into suicide and all that. That's a whole different thing. We're not talking about that right here. And I don't believe in that, because you didn't create the original ignition of the electrical charge. I don't think you have the right to extinguish it, and that's why I don't believe in eating meat, flesh, or blood, or anything that requires the life of the animal to be extinguished. And I've eaten meat, and I've had an abortion, and I've done things that I regret because they were sins against nature. And now I know, just through dreams, through messages from God, through signs, just answers to my prayers. I've been given these truths, and a lot of people who have had this dream of a golden key, it reminded me, yeah, I had this dream. It had to have been at least a minimum of a year ago, because it happened before I lived in the place where I live now, and I've lived here almost a year. So I was like, yeah, I remember when I had the golden key dream, but it seemed like there were two. There were two keys. There were like a safety deposit box at a bank. Like I had a key, but the other one was there, but not in my hand. It was like more of a feeling of there's a missing key, so there's two golden keys, okay? But we have one, and then Michael has the other one. When you're ready, when you've made that journey through the dark room, okay, and that's where Azrael, that room that was closed off, you got to go through the darkness to get to the light. Azrael guides you through your shadow work. There's nothing to be afraid of. You don't need to be afraid of yourself. Azrael is right there guiding you, okay? There's nothing to fear. The only way out of the darkness is through the light. And your faith to release your fear, so that you have the courage to put that golden key in and have the faith and trust and believe that Michael is right on the other side with the other golden key, and he's going to walk you down that golden corridor. It's a dark corridor towards the golden light, but you can only see that once you open that door. That's what faith is. Because from your perspective, all you can see is that dark corridor. You have to have faith to open that door. And once you're in that dark corridor, Michael guides you every step of the way, hand in hand, towards the light. There is nothing to fear. And for people who are twin flames out there, that's what this is all about. We're not supposed to be sitting around pining, waiting. We're supposed to be growing the self, learning, communicating with God, being on our path, calling forth a soulmate who you're worthy of love. You don't need to wait around. Like, I'm going to be celibate, and I'm not going to have sex until I'm married, and I want a pious man, and I'm calling that in, and maybe that'll be my twin flame, maybe not. But God will show me the way, and I have faith in that. And I don't dream anything that isn't true, because I've been agnostic my whole life. I've never read the Bible. I don't know these words, blah, 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 blah. This is my story. I'm the pragmatic, metaphysical, I gotta see it to believe it, Capricorn, work hard, go to school, okay? So maybe that's why I've been given these messages, because I am a skeptic and a non-believer. But I'll tell you what, I don't get any messages that aren't straight from God, that aren't the truth, because I don't already have this stuff in my mind. So how can it be a projection when I've never even heard these words and stuff? So there's nothing to fear. The angels, basically the bottom line is, keep the faith, because the angels are there with you all the time. When you're dreaming, when you're dying, they are with you every second, every step of the way, holding your hand. And that's all I have to say. And blessings. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day. Oh my Lord, I got my independence. I am off this karmic wheel. I have done my work, let me tell you. That's all you need to do, people. And you can be right there in an instant. All you need to do is release your fear. Have faith. Trust in God. The angels are always right here. They have your back all the time. Okay? And they're working together. There's a team of them. And they don't divide up their duties. There's a whole team, and they work for each and every person. 100% for each and every person. They don't divide up between all the people in the population. No, you get all the angels all the time, 100%, because they're angels. They can do that. So, blessings to all. Keep the faith and be love.